In every murder case, there is one rule that cannot be broken. Not the witness, not the confession, not even the weapon, the chain of custody. Once that rule is broken, ayikho into ezophinde ihambe kakuhle apha. Believe me, nothing will move swiftly after that. Because the moment the evidence loses its story, it loses its power. And in this case, there is one question that refuses to go away. Who touched the gun and when? And why? The rule that controls everything. Let's make that simple. Chain of custody is not paperwork. It is the life story of evidence. From the crime scene to the courtroom, every second must be accounted for, because the law doesn't just ask, is this the gun? It asks, can we trust everything that happened to this gun? And if that story has gaps, the evidence begins to collapse. Now, once you lose control, it becomes problematic. Now, here is where things get dangerous. Everything that has to do with evidence must always be locked, sealed, stored in controlled environments. But what happens when evidence is kept in personal possessions? Evidence moves without clear records. Evidence is handled outside forensic systems. That is not a technical error. That is a break in control. And once control is lost, you cannot prove who touched it, when it was accessed, whether it was altered. You can't. Now, when it comes to who touched it becomes the defense weapon, that becomes very problematic for a state. This is where the courtroom shifts again, because the defense doesn't need to prove anything. They only need to ask questions. And here are the questions that explode cases. Who collected the gun? Who transported it? Who stored it? Who examined it? Was it sealed the entire time? If even one answer is unclear, the doubt begins. And once doubt begins, it spreads like wildfire. It spreads over everything connected to that evidence. And there is also contamination and tampering risk in all of this, mind you. And let's talk reality when it comes to that. Evidence is fragile, guys. If someone touches it without gloves, stores it incorrectly, opens it without logging, you introduce DNA contamination, fingerprint confusion, trace evidence errors. Now imagine this: a person who was never at the crime scene appears on evidence. What does the court do? Trust the evidence or question everything? Because what is this, Sana? What is this now? Becomes the question. Now combine everything: unclear handling, missing logs, movement outside the system, and then ask, where was the gun at every moment? Esidrowini zikaGininda. Imagine that. Esidrowini zikaGininja. Njani kaloku? Njani? If that cannot be answered clearly, the timeline collapses. And when the timeline collapses, the prosecution loses control of the narrative. And uGininda, when he was doing all of these things, he was not thinking straight. He was too much excited. He said, I got the case all together. Without realizing, on top of getting the case all together, scrutiny. And now the scrutiny is scrutinizing him like nobody's business, and he can't stomach it. Because the scrutiny is the one that is dealing with his case. From left to bottom to right to there, it's dealing with him. Now, the court has questions that it needs to ask. At the end of the day, the court does not need perfection, right? But it requires reliability. So even if the state says this is the murder weapon, the court will still ask, can we trust how it was handled? And if the answer is uncertain, the law is clear, that uncertainty becomes reasonable doubt. The case is no longer about what the gun proves. It's about what the handling destroys. Because if you cannot answer one question, who touched the gun and when, then you cannot trust anything that comes from it. And uGininda did not anticipate zonke ezo zinto because his focus was about making sure he gets the accused arrested, and then he goes to court and then does this little presentation. I don't know what was happening to that man's head. I honestly don't know how he was thinking, his thinking process was going when it comes to all of this, because everything is rubbishing him. Everything is proving him to be incompetent. Everything is saying he did not do any investigation. Everything is pointing at him and is telling him that he is the driving force out of this whole debacle, out of this whole nonsense that is happening in the Senzumiwa case. Gininda is the driving force. If he has a handler, fine. That's his business. But we hear his name here. He's the leader here. He's the ringleader when it comes to the investigation. So now we are going to come for him and his investigative tonton. No, ibhedile bafo. Ibhedile kakhulu. Noma ungayenza kanjani kubhedile kwashesha kwabhedla tu kubhedile. Ayibhedile case yona ibhedile. Even if Judge Rata can find this guy's guilt, the case ibhedile strunas. Ibhedile tu. There is absolutely no way. This is how bad investigation Gininda is. It exposed him. Now, we want to know, I think I need to do a next video on Chad. We want to check, when was this firearm collected from Chad? By who? We need those proper timelines of that. And then we need to hear a statement is Sitini about the fetching of comparison with this Mangena, because we do need to understand Umangena uti when did he fetch the firearm? Uti wailandani. We really do need to understand the statement is Mangena also. We really need to understand ukuthi ushukuthini ukuthi uyilande a certain date. Yeah, we need those dates. I'm gonna do a follow-up on that. Because ikhona into engahlangani lana. Ikhona into engahlangani. But time will tell. Let's wait and see. I don't know about you, but me, I want to see what is a status safe. Let's talk in the comment section. I want to hear your views. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.